What we're doing right now, believe it or not, is engaging in something called a Let's Play. We will be playing Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition, which is a mod for Sonic Adventure DX on PC, wherein during play, random codes will activate to impede your gameplay in some way, by reversing your controls, halting Sonic's momentum entirely, spawning a bunch of random objects, that sort of thing. No big, you can't go home, we just started. And it may sound like an awful way to play a video game, but there's a reason that Chaos mods exist and why they've become so popular, both to share online through content streams and just to play casually. And it's because by introducing new codes all the time, they create... Alright, sure. Normally the skips aren't quite that easy to perform, but we'll take what we can get. By introducing new codes that vary the gameplay constantly, it gives the player new things to interact with and think about. And in a way, it turns the familiar into the extraordinary, which I think is probably the biggest reason people enjoy these games so much. Like, for example, right now, it's really hard to... Okay, it's back to normal for a second. Quick time event. For example, back there, it was hard to even recognize Sonic Adventure DX. It was hard to even parse that I was looking at the same game I played so much as a child on the GameCube. And although the movement in Sonic Adventure DX can be troublesome... Oh, I guess that's the Sonic just... I guess that's the Sonic dies twice code. I guess he dies thrice. I guess we're out of lives, because it seems that this is going to... Okay, no. We almost ran out of lives, but the Sonic dies randomly code did not continue until we were just completely gone from this realm. Audio balancing this game... Audio balancing this game was... I have a snowboard. Audio balancing this game was... You know what? Starting over is not a big deal because I can try the bridge skip this time. Audio balancing this game was a bit difficult because Sonic Adventure is a loud game. His Sonic shoes are loud, his ideology is loud, the rings are loud, the springs are loud. It's just loud. It's a loud experience. Let's try the bridge skip. My momentum died. Let's try the bridge skip. Alright, we did it. Wasn't as difficult as I would have anticipated. I don't know what all the codes are. There's a list of all the codes that can be applied on the mod website, which you'll find in the description, but I did not look at all of them. The Sonic died code appears to have activated again. Unlike the others, which present new platforming hazards, the Sonic dies code just seems mean-spirited, but I'm here for that. You know, I signed up for a completely blind experience. I didn't look at what any of the codes were. I don't know if any of them can be disabled. If they could be, I wouldn't want to do it. But, like I was saying, the idea of turning something incredibly familiar into something new and exciting really appeals, because humans occupy a weird space where they want to feel like they're doing something new and progressing in life. But they also want familiarity. And Chaos Edition mods give you both. They let you feel like you're doing something new with your life, but it's also that same game that you're so used to, you know? You get the best of both worlds. Alright, taking the bridge skip is actually not difficult at all. I've noticed that there's not a lot the game seems to be able to do when you spin, dash, and jump. It doesn't seem to be able to interrupt your momentum in any grievous capacity while you're doing that. While you're on the ground, it seems to be able to stop your momentum entirely. But while you're spin, dash, jumping, it doesn't seem so. Camera. Alright, maybe I don't need the camera. At the best of times, the camera in Sonic Adventure glitches beyond the scenery anyway. As much as I love Sonic Adventure and will defend its game design and movement and the way its levels encourage player agency and player creativity by allowing for so many unique skips, the camera in the original game and in DX is not fantastic by any means. Something immediately noticeable about playing a Chaos version of a game like this, as opposed to Mario 64, where it was popularized, is that a Chaos Edition for a game like Sonic is going to end up with you out of bounds a lot more, especially on heavily linear stages like this one. Mario 64 is a very open video game by design, and the movement is rather loose. I don't mean loose in a negative sense, I just mean that you're given a large degree of freedom. And while the movement in... I've never seen the inside of the lighthouse before, so I can thank Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition for that. And while the movement in Sonic Adventure DX is equally loose, the environments in many levels are so much more linear. They're not built to let you explore your movement in an open capacity. The idea behind exploring the movement in Sonic Adventure is that you'll explore it to just get the fastest time, not necessarily parkour off all the cool objects. I could have sworn that... Burger Man? I could have sworn that the spin dash kills enemies, but maybe that was just another... maybe that was just another code that prevented the spin dash from killing the enemy, or maybe the spin dash in regular Adventure never killed enemies. I could probably use this... Is this Big's theme? I think it's Big's theme. It's probably the theme I've heard the least. It is the case that that playing the game this way also challenges my knowledge of the way Sonic Adventure works. Like, I'll probably learn new things about the way the game is programmed and what movement options are available to me by playing the game in this fashion. And it's also just a good test of patience. Like, I'm trying to keep my balance. It feels like my balance is constantly slipping in multiple ways while playing this mod, to call, if I'm being honest with you. My emotional balance, my mental balance, Sonic's physical balance on the world around him, all of that. I really like, as I was saying, it also feels like a great test of patience, and I actually kind of like that in games. I really like when games are you versus the game. That's why I'm such a big fan of things like Driver, the Driver series, Driver 1 and Driver 3 in particular, or Drive 3er, if you prefer, given how it's spelled. In those games, and the original Midnight Club, in those games, it really feels like the game is trying to kill you, and it's a very simple... that code could have been worse. It's a very simple skill equation. Are you driving well enough, or aren't you? And the game doesn't really care about anything resembling fairness. That's not really the point in Driver and Driver 3. In fact, some of the missions are deliberately designed to be unfair. But I'd argue that makes the game better just because of what it's trying to be. And it's been a long time since I've had an experience like that, just because they don't make games that are that with that mindset anymore. Not that they were super common when Driver came out to begin with, but games like that are all the more uncommon these days. And I like testing my patience and the limits of what my human brain can handle. It's exciting to push yourself that way, and that's something that video games can offer, but don't often offer. And I wish it were done more. Alright, we're nearly there, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. Honestly, that wasn't so bad. I expected to die many countless more times. You could say that even though this is more difficult, because it's more linear, and thus shuffles you out of bounds more, that the relative time it takes to complete a stage isn't that different from Mario 64 Chaos Edition, simply by the fact that the levels in Sonic are faster, and there's one objective in each of them. So it's kind of a trade-off. I really wanted to do a skip there, but this is not Burger Man, but this is not the correct game for that. Not the correct version of the game for that, I should say. I really like how holding an item changes Sonic's jumping physics. It feels strange, but in a normal way. And what I mean by that is when you're holding something and jumping as Sonic, it feels almost like a normal 3D platformer rather than a Sonic 3D platformer. It's very surreal to experience something ordinary in a Sonic game. Not that we'll be seeing too much of the ordinary for a while now. I'm trying to think of what the most normal Sonic game might be. It seems like the spin dash still works regardless of what code is being input. If you see the game pause, that is not me. There's just a code that pauses the game that turns on sometimes.
How does this thing fly?
So those bridges made of wind that you walk through, and the wind shuffles you along to your destination. Not quite at the speed of sound, but swiftly enough for our purposes. My roommate, Sock, watched me use those gates, those wind gates, and was curious whether Sonic was running on the Leaves ninja style, and I could absolutely understand why they might think that, but even as a child, I somehow just understood that it was communicating, oh yeah, it's the wind. Sonic's running on the wind right now. I saw another Burger Man statue. I wonder if the Burger Man has, like, a dedicated name. Something I did learn new, something new I did learn about Sonic Adventure as a whole from this mod is that you can be shuffled around by the chains on those swinging spike hazards. I was not aware of that previously, and I wonder if there are any, like, ooh, Burger Man. I wonder if there are any, like, challenge-focused mods which utilize... Can Sonic not bounce while he's holding the Burger Man? I don't think he can. That's so strange. But yeah, this is... There's just so many reasons to play this. Like I said, it's... Oh, God. Like I said, it's the feeling of experiencing something new and familiar simultaneously. It's a great test of patience and skill. And in addition, you learn new things about a game that you've already loved for so long. Like how the Burger Man interacts with... Yes, good, okay. Like how the Burger Man... Please, for the love of God. Like how the Burger Man interacts with spring obstacles. Oh, Burger Man. I wonder if he works with the panels. I'm going to bet not. I can't see. And I like to imagine myself as a fairly calm individual most of the time. So it's also a chance to... Okay, so he just leaves the Burger Man behind. The Burger Man came with, actually, but he did not come with in the way I was expecting. It's a chance to... Quick time event. It's a chance to practice, please get the Burger Man off the pad. It's a chance to practice my stoicism, like... How much nonsense can I handle before I get to a point where I can't stand Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition anymore? And I'm willing to bet I'm not going to reach that limit. Just because, in addition to having played this game so much, that these levels are a source of comfort regardless of how messed up they are. It's such a novel concept to me, as I've never played any Chaos Edition mods previous to this. Okay, we're alive. We're alive. This part has a ton of skips, but if we play it safe, it's largely linear. And I'm hoping that I can just stay on the path as we move our way down. I'm hoping that I can just stay on the path as we move our way down. I wonder if the Sonic Dies code just doesn't trigger when you have 0 lives left. That would make sense. Kind of a small mercy. Not that there aren't a ton of codes that instantly kill you regardless, because there are. They're just all much more context sensitive. The press the D-pad down or die code is probably the easiest code to deal with, if I'm being honest. Yeah, to call, I know. This isn't quite how I remember Windy Valley either. I wonder how the Tails levels have changed, or if anything has changed in the Tails levels. It seems like it would be significantly harder to screw with Tails on account of he can fly. And if you memorize the level layouts, you can just fly through the whole level more or less, because naturally Tails can hover past all of the obstacles that Sonic has to actually jump around. The one where it opens the pause menu doesn't seem to impart any additional effects beyond just opening the pause menu. Like, you might accidentally navigate the menu up or down while trying to leave it, but that seems to be the only real hazard. Like, maybe you'll accidentally press quit if you don't adjust your thinking fast enough. Which I guess, to be fair, would be a pretty devastating way to lose the game. If the menu auto-opened and you just pressed quit without thinking. I'm trying to remember, was it Sonic... Was it this game that uses music from Sonic 3D that was meant for Sonic 3D Blast, or the other way? Could be both. You know, in Sonic Frontiers, when Sonic's mentioning all the things that Tails did to help him, Sonic rightfully mentions that Tails defeated Eggman in Station Square and prevented the nuclear destruction of Station Square as a result. But Sonic does not mention that time that Tails flew straight into a tornado for him. And honestly, I think that speaks much more. That speaks much more to Tails' bravery. Yeah, the Sonic Dice code just seems to chain. I don't know if there's I'm not. I wish I could say I'm shocked. I was gonna say I'm shocked too, but I'm not, to call. I'm sorry. I wonder if there's just a random number of times that the death code can chain together. See, I feel like a lot of this stuff would have been ruined for me if I had looked up what codes were available ahead of time. A big rock just almost made me a big blue smear across the level. Did you know you can jump on these floating islands that we're seeing all around us? You can jump on them. They are actual platforms. And the kinds of skips you can do by interacting with them, like one of them I think even has a spring on it. The kind of skips you can do by interacting with those floating platforms is really insane. It's not necessary to get the A rank time, or I guess it's the level A level time, but, ooh, Burger Man. But it still speaks to Sonic Adventure's quality, I think, as a speed game, that there are so many very different ways to progress through the level. And that many of them require genuine creativity and critical thought. Oh no, Sonic, the death code again? Oh no, Sonic, the death code again? Oh, he can die when you have 0 lives left. Goodness gracious. I guess I'll have to be careful of that. And it appears that the sound has cut out entire... Okay, no, there we go. You know, it would be trivial, because I'm already... the death code again. It would be trivial because I'm using a mod loader to just give myself infinite lives, or at least 99, I think. But I think that flies in the spirit. I think that flies in the... flies in the face of the spirit of the Chaos Edition mod. I'm not even sure if me being stuck on that platform was the Chaos Edition mod's fault or just regular Sonic Adventure DX. I'm not quite sure. As much as I love this game, it does have its issues. You bounce off walls a lot. It's not always clear how to control the camera or what you should be looking at. But I think it more than makes up for it with its movement mechanics. The movement mechanics in Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 are phenomenal, but I prefer Sonic Adventure 1's level design much more than 2's. For Sonic Adventure 2 style level design, I just play Sonic 06. I said it. I'm not gonna lie about that. If I want a quick hit of Sonic Adventure 2 style platforming, I just play Sonic 06. And it's true that Sonic doesn't really have proper momentum in Sonic 06. While the basic controls and level design sensibilities are kept the same in Sonic 06, it is the case that the physics are practically gone. Especially the spin dash. The spin dash just don't work right in Sonic 06, but you get an incredible slide kick instead, and I love that slide kick. Sonic? Sonic, where are we? Buddy? Hi, I'm Addy Tikal. How are you? It's gonna be a long adventure to stop perfect chaos, I think. The, what's it called? Project 06, the game which supposes to fix Sonic 06. I played a fair bit of that. And it does a lot of things right in fixing the bugs in Sonic 06. Like, there are several shortcuts you just couldn't take in Sonic 06 because they just didn't work right. Sonic 06 was released in an incredibly unfinished state, and the basic programming fell apart often. You could still S-rank it. I still think Sonic 06 is enjoyable, but it is the case that a lot of things about it were just plain broken. Yeah, I guess you just can't bounce while holding them. And while Project 06 fixes those things, it also changes a lot of things that I just plain think are for the worse. Like, for one reason or another, Project 06 gives Sonic proper momentum. And I almost said I can Crisis City. I can S-rank Crisis City like it's second nature. I have S-ranked Sonic 06 countless times at this point. And Crisis City is probably my favorite stage 2 S-rank. But in Project 06, it took forever to S-rank Crisis City. Not because it's necessarily inherently more difficult in Project 06, but just because they gave Sonic actual momentum. And so the way the platforming works is now completely different. You can't take the shortcuts the same way, and the basic platforming at the end of the level operates under completely different rules now. The way Sonic 06 operates on a base level is more like a high-skill QTE than a physics-based platformer. And Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 are physics-based platformers. Sonic 06 has the same movement controls and same design sensibilities as Adventure and Adventure 2, but it's no longer physics-based. So putting physics into it made the game really difficult to play, for me in particular. For people who don't have a fondness for Sonic 06, it probably didn't make too much difference. They might have even found it easier. But for me in particular, it was so much harder. I'm gonna drink some water. What is that? What just fell down just there? I can't tell if my controls... I'm trying to call. I can't tell if my controls are presently reversed or not. It's gotten even harder to tell. You might think it got easier because of the spinning, but in fact the spinning made it harder to tell what's happening. No, a snowboard. A spiky enemy, and there's the rock. I knew that I saw a rock. Is there a part in the game where rocks fall on you? I'm trying to remember. There might be. Alright. Yeah, let's call that one a mulligan. Alright. A lot of... Ooh. I don't know why I brought him. I know I can't use him on the trampoline. A lot of people accuse me of being the Rock again. This time it succeeded in its mission. A lot of people accuse me of being kind of passionless, and obviously I couldn't disagree more with that. I have a great deal of love for great many things, but something that genuinely surprised my boyfriend when I visited him is that if I'm experiencing something new, I have a very, in general, I have a very strong suspension of disbelief, but in particular, if I'm experiencing something new, my reaction to it is much more bombastic, I think, than anyone who watches this channel or regularly speaks to me outside of video games would understand. Am I invincible, or is the aura above me invincible? But I was playing Castle on the Coast, which is a beautiful movement-focused 3D platformer, for my boyfriend Zuzi. That's Zuzi with Z's, not Susie with an S. But I was playing Castle on the Coast for my boyfriend Zuzi, and there was a lot of cartoonish wailing when I fell off cliffs, and screeches of surprise. Because, you know, it was a new game, and I was really invested in the world, and I didn't quite understand how it worked yet. And he was so surprised by these expulsions of mine that he had to ask whether they were intentional or unconscious. And they are entirely unconscious. I just get really invested in the things I play, unless I'm trying deliberately to be calm. And I think that's one of the most... I almost got the item box. I think that's one of the most enjoyable things about games to me, is getting so... Knuckles' theme is playing. One of the best things about video games is getting so utterly lost in the world. And that's part of why I, ironically, can't enjoy many modern games as much, is because it feels like there are more barriers between me and the game. Like, ironically, most modern game development is built around removing those barriers. But in trying to remove them, they tutorialize so much. There's so many more pop-ups telling you when to do this or that, and the characters tell you when you're on fire or when your health is low, and it just feels like my ability to interact with the game on my own as a thinking human is lost as a result of that. And I suppose it's just hard to square that. It doesn't help that in the late 90s, early 2000s, when 3D was first rearing its head, or at least 3D that most people associate gaming with, there was so much experimentation in that time period. So many people were trying new, exciting, unheard of things, taking game design in new directions, taking visual design in new directions, and it was fantastic. There were so many wonderfully artistic games from the PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, PS2, and GameCube era of gaming. And that's not to say that when the PS3 and 360 came out, people just stopped experimenting, but the more normal it got to... Hold on, let me drink some more water. The more normal it got to make games centered around Hollywood-style stories and big explosive graphics, the harder and harder it got to find games genuinely experimenting, visually or otherwise. And I just think that's a huge shame. I'm actually really glad that whatever issues I have with Sonic Frontiers, its gameplay is genuinely trying something new again. Like, the general theme of Sonic Frontiers is that you can't just stay still forever. You can't just keep remaking the same game in the same way indefinitely just because you think that's what people want. You have to try to push boundaries. You have to try to explore new frontiers. And even though I think Sonic Frontiers is way too easy, the actual movement mechanics are phenomenal. Some of the best in the series, if not the best. Especially because of the way they reworked the boost mechanic. It's much less speedy, but it's aimed at giving the player a lot more control over how they move Sonic to enable greater skips. And even though the S-rank times were way too lenient in Sonic Frontiers, I still found myself exploring new skips anyway. Because even though there's not like an official category for it in game, you can complete most, if not all, of the stages in under S-rank time while also getting all the red rings and all of the regular rings required to unlock the vault keys. And the vault key requirements are pretty low themselves, but if you're trying to get all the rings and all the red rings and get under the S-rank time, it suddenly becomes a much more challenging. And it's true that I shouldn't have had to make my own challenge in that way. Especially since I was playing on hard mode, the game should have actually given me a challenge. It really brought out how much depth there is to the movement mechanics and how much can be accomplished with the new boost style.
The ice looks kinda tasty.
I mean, just don't chew it. If you chew ice, it'll mess with your teeth pretty bad. I don't think I can grab Burger Man anymore because he's inside the spring. Is that Alma Chow or a regular Chow? That's Alma Chow. Hi, Alma Chow. I did not expect to see you in here.
Head straight up. You should be able to get out of the tornado.
Heading straight up while holding a snowboard is much harder than you might think.
If you're hanging from a cord, use the directional pad to sway. By touching
A
the
cord?
next to you, you will be able to switch cords.
Cord? What? A cord? What are you talking about? A cord? Where in the game are there cords? They probably mean something else. Like, they probably don't literally mean a cord. It's probably just a general term for something completely different. I'm just gonna wait this out. Eventually something has to happen. I'm gonna drink some more water though. So, as far as storytelling goes in the Sonic Adventure series, I think Sonic 06 has the best characterization and the best character motivations, and perhaps the best backstory for a character in Silver. But I think Sonic Adventure's narrative is the best overall, just because of what it does with the Chaos Emeralds as a concept. Hey, there we go. Just because of what it does with the Chaos Emeralds as a concept, and
Panel number 1.
it's true that
Panels 2 and 3.
there's so many situations where
Or else you'll fall.
the Chaos Emeralds get retconned into having different functions. Like, in Sonic Adventure, they have a very explicit particular function. Then in Sonic Unleashed, they have a completely different particular explicit function. And then in Sonic Frontiers, hey, they're from outer space. But the thing about Sonic Frontiers is that, like everything in Sonic Frontiers, its explanation is meant to at least fit with all prior explanations. Not so much previous to that. Most Sonic games before Frontiers just plain did not care about existing canon. In terms of writing, that was probably the series' biggest issue, is that it just, aside from Adventure 2, Heroes, Shadow, and 06, the games just did not care about their pre-existing canon. And seeing Frontiers bring it all together in the way it had was incredibly surprising to me. Like, I was actually kind of stunned by the effort that went into making a cohesive narrative out of so many narratives which at one point were completely disparate. We're in the final screen, and now's the time for the Sonic die code to start activating, I suppose. I say final screen like we're playing an old arcade game. I wonder, like, I know Sega Sonic, the arcade game, is an arcade game. I wonder if there are any arcade games which, like, are built around the player moving super fast, Sonic style. I know Blaster Master was supposed to be an arcade game. I don't think it got released though because they found out that it was too easy to finish it in one credit. And, you know, arcade companies really don't want games that can be finished easily in one credit. It's just not something they're after, because the more credits you put in, the more money they get. Arcade design is often looked down upon for that reason, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with arcade design, because most arcade games can be beaten fairly quickly with enough skilled player input. And depending on what game you're playing, it doesn't even require that much. It doesn't even require... See, like, cartoony noises like that. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't even require that much memorization as much as it requires the player to understand the game world. Like, the underlying persistent mechanics that the game operates on. Like, if you're familiar with enough beat-em-ups, then it's the case that... Alright, I guess we're getting the die code out of the way real early this time. If you're familiar with enough beat-em-ups, then it's the case that many other games in the genre will cease to surprise you. Not all of them, but often you can circumvent many of the challenges simply by being genre savvy. And the part of the game where you learn, where you're intaking new information and really speaking with the game, communicating to learn what it's trying to say, that's some of my favorite. Those are my... Sorry, brain's getting a little overloaded. Those are my favorite moments in games, I think, is when the player and game are communicating. And like I was saying, in modern games, and they try to remove the barrier of communication, but it feels like in doing so that something precious is lost. Like, the game is no longer communicating its ideas to you, it's asking you to like it, I think, is the problem I have with most modern games.
Select your character. Let's get him.
Most games from Sonic Adventure's era and previous don't really make many concessions for the player. They want the player to, like, be able to play the game, obviously. But they still have things to say, and being able to say those things in the way they want to say them is what they care most about. And I think that's the essence of artistic expression, is being inspired by something or having some idea and wanting to put it to art in one way or another. And yeah, I know Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, all these other games that I love, they are still corporate products most of the time. But it used to be the case that we weren't sure what people liked yet. And so there was so much more experimentation. And now that we're more certain what people like, there's less experimentation. And you might just say that's... excuse me, I need even more water, it seems. And you might just say that's the way of things. A natural shifting of markets. But I do think something beautiful is lost in that. There are a lot of versions of this Chaos mod available already. I just downloaded the most recent one. I didn't realize until just the last attempt on this tornado how harrowing these QuickTime pads are. How much can go wrong on those, because in the base game those QuickTime pads are absolutely nothing. I'm not even sure what they're really for, what they communicate in the design. But in Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition, any amount of time where you have to stand still or bob still or whatever you want to call it for an extended period of time, you're in great danger of what's happening right now. you're in great danger of being disrupted. It's much less dangerous, it seems, when you're actively moving. Oh, there he goes. I didn't know that there was a white void outside of the tornado. Alright, come on. Just one more. Yeah, alright. I don't know why, but I did expect this level to be somehow easier than Emerald Coast. Like, it just didn't occur to me that... Sure, I'm down to snowboard. Never mind, we're not snowboarding anymore. Okay, or yes, we are. Like, in my head...
Select your kit. Let's get him. Select a stage.
I saw less places to fly off, but that's not the case at all, is it? Especially in the final area. There are so many countless ways to go soaring off the stage, even when you're playing normally. See, Sonic 06 tried to incorporate things like that action chain. Was Sonic Unleashed the first time they were called action chains? It might have been. I don't know if they've been called action chains since either. One moment. But, as I was saying, Sonic 06 tried to incorporate rhythmic action. Like we just did, bouncing between those pads. And I feel like it succeeded at being rhythmic, fast, and giving the player a great sense of satisfaction. Even if the physics were completely removed. I don't want to jinx it, but this might be the best run of the Inside the Tornado yet. Okay. Alright. You know what? We'll take that. We'll take that. We had it too easy inside the tornado. It's understandable. You got to balance the game somehow. What was that? What just happened there? Oh boy. Okay. So the camera clipping under the road right there, you might have thought that was Chaos Edition, but I can confirm that actually happens in the base game a lot. So that was not Chaos Edition, in fact. You know, it's kind of a relief when you hear a new song start playing that's not supposed to be playing, because all that means is that instead of a much more terrifying code, you're getting a code where the song changes, and that's nothing. I've heard Windy Valley enough that hearing Knuckles' theme play on top of Windy Valley, that's fine. That's not making my day any worse. Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow, I wish I could describe to you how that controlled. That was a completely alien experience to me. It's like strafing a little bit. At the best of times, it's hard to stay off the walls in this section, and this is not making it... Oh, thanks for the save, I guess. And this is not making it any easier. Can I get back on the road, please? Yes, thank you. Lovely. We are so close to the end of the stage now. Please. Please. Am I drowning? I'm drowning. Joke's on you, I finished the level. I have no idea whether I would have actually died.
Yeah, not bad.
But it wasn't exactly a risk I was willing to muck around with.
Let's get him. Select a stage.
Alright, Casinopolis does have some platforming in it, in spite of the way it's structured, so we're gonna go to the sewer section, if you want to call it the sewer section. What just happened?
No.
All right. I mean, I guess I was wrong about it, about the linearity being...
Oh no!
Oh no. I guess I was wrong about the linearity being what makes this harder, because that was a very open area and we still were utterly destroyed. I have to use the restroom, so I'm just gonna let this happen for a minute while I use the restroom. Seems like it's still going. You know, I remember the easiest part.
Hey! My name is Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog da! とにかくじっとしちゃいられない。
I remember the easiest part about this level being dying, but I don't know if I can die anymore.
あ、こいつ。どうやら悪の科学者、ドクターエッグマンが一枚
You know what? Maybe we won't be playing. Maybe we won't be playing. All right, we'll give it one more go to see what happens. But maybe Casinopolis isn't for us. Oh, the Rock is back. Lovely. Where's Sonic? I think maybe... Alright, there we go. Alright, I don't have the light ring dash. I don't know why I have it in the save file, but maybe it just don't work here. Like, I mean, I know it works in this level. What I mean is maybe it just don't work in Chaos Edition for one reason or another. Or maybe the trial stages interfere with it somehow. I'm not sure. Because we are accessing these levels via the level select instead of through the adventure mode proper. This may end up being the hardest level, period. Especially since your rings are just constantly disappearing. I didn't know you could fly this high up. I've never flown to this one. Alright, well, we got 30 rings. That's not bad. But there is a chance that they will just randomly disappear. As they always do. But yeah, I'm thinking about everything that's required for this level. And although in the base game it really seems like it's not asking a lot, the pinball tables are an absolute... Hi Tails, how you doing? In the base game, it feels like it's not asking a lot, but even the pinball tables are terribly messed up in Chaos Edition. So we might just move on to the Twinkle Park, because Casinopolis might be its own odyssey at this rate. I do appreciate that Knuckles' theme started playing as soon as the crane grabbed us, though. I feel like that should happen in the base game, regardless of anything else. It might also be possible if we wait around long enough just to get glitched up into the capsule. It's making this weird whirlwind noise every time I jump using the snowboard. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to leave this room. Alright. Would you believe me if I told you that I didn't even know that Sonic's face was on the coins until just now? I don't know how the rings turn into coins either, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, alright. Alright, I'm gonna go back in the vault room and see if I can jank my way up to the my way up to the goal one more time. But if not, then it's back to the pinball tables. And if we die a couple more times and lose every life, then we'll just head to Twinkle Park. Twinkle Park is probably the most open level now that I think about it. Besides this one, I mean. This one's open in the sense that the main room is just a giant arena. Okay, so the spin dash does in fact kill enemies. I know that you're not... Yes! Oh no. Alright. If there was ever gonna be if there was ever gonna be a winning attempt, that was it. So let's head back to the pinball table. An arena for gambling is what this is. Please continue, yes. I appreciate you thinking I might need a break, but I just took one. You know, I would love a mod like this for Sonic 06, but not only is Sonic 06 almost impossible to mod because it wasn't released on PC, but a lot of people would joke that, oh hey, cool. A lot of people would joke that Sonic 06 in its base state already feels like one of these mods. And they're not necessarily wrong. It's just that I'm aware of where all the glitches are and how to S-rank each level. So it doesn't quite feel the same, you know?
The ice looks kinda tasty.
Again, Big, just don't chew it. As long as you don't chew it, it's fine to eat the ice. You know, before ingesting ice from a local fast food store, I didn't really know what dirty ice tasted like, and now I understand why you need to clean ice machines. Are you supposed to... Where are we? I'm sorry, I've taken the same path through the sewer every time I've played this game, so that was completely new to me. Another example of learning new I'm on the wall. Another example of learning new things about a game which you've played so many times. These blobby enemies, as a child, I didn't really understand... Oh, alright, well that's that. On to Twinkle Park.
Select your character.
Those blobby enemies, as a child, I didn't really understand what they were for. But, now I do. I understand now that they're to prevent you from just homing attacking everything in your path. They're enemies that encourage you to genuinely think critically about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Prevent you from just mashing the A button to get through the game. There we go. Alright, now let's... I got time. I got time. I can wait for that to finish.
The jet booster. Press and hold the jump button and you'll float for a while.
Maybe I'll go home.
Oh boy, that was an audio-visual treat hearing all those voice clips playing back to back. This section is probably the least interesting. The least... My God. Why? I was about to say that this section is probably the least interesting in the entire game. So it'll be cool to see how Chaos Edition messes with that, but I suppose we found out in rather short order how it can be messed with. Oh boy. Every time I thought that ride was over, it just kept going. I don't know if there's a code that just makes you clip through the floors, or if that's just something that's happening as a result of this game interfacing with the regular Sonic Adventure levels, and I really can't tell where I am or what's happening right now. It appears that... Okay. Ah! Like I was saying, it'd be really cool to see if there are any mods that that make use of the fact that those ball and chains push you, because they massively change Sonic's acceleration. All right. It was cool of you to show me how you could mess this up the first time, but I think now everyone agrees that you should just let me pass through the go-kart section. That was on me, to be fair. I knew there were monkeys there, I just wasn't thinking about it because I'm stuck to the ceiling. And it makes it a bit harder to think about the world around you when you're stuck to the ceiling. At least initially. After you've been stuck to the ceiling... Oh, excuse me. After you've been stuck to the ceiling long enough...
Select a stage.
You exhaust all other things to think about besides the world around you, and you have to accept that, you know, at first you might have thought, hey, someone's got to rescue me from the ceiling eventually, but the world doesn't revolve around you. It's so much bigger than you. And all those things you held to be true, all those things in your personal philosophy that for years you thought were unquestionable, they've now come into question because you're stuck to the ceiling and you have nothing to think about. And because no one came to rescue you. That's very important to mention. If someone came to rescue you, you probably wouldn't have to introspect as much. But I think maybe we should all spend a little time stuck to the ceiling in our lives, so that way we can just take a little time away from the idea that we're the protagonist, because we're not. The world is so much bigger than we are. And maybe showing a little kindness to those around us and having respect for their own perception. I'm focusing really hard. Their own perception, their own beliefs, and how they came to possess those would greatly benefit us the next time we get stuck to the ceiling. Maybe someone will come for help then. And if they don't, you know, you can always turn into a misanthrope. There's a lot of stuff wrong in the world, and even though I've personally denounced misanthropy, I would not blame you if you decided to be a misanthrope. I think there's a lot of reasons to be a misanthrope. Not the least of which is getting stuck to the ceiling while no one comes for you. That seems like a pretty good reason to be misanthropic, personally. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna... Please. Please. Please let Sonic in the hole. We've made it. Can anything go wrong during the roller coaster ride? Not yet. The music can change. We know that. Oh, the death code activated. I wonder if the death code will activate again when this coaster ride is over. Nope, just a pause. Alright, cool. We'll take that. We take those. Yes, play the fanfare. Give me the coins. The rings, excuse me. I will never be forgiven for calling them coins, I'm sure. In my defense, there were coins in Casinopolis. Hard mode? I think it's kind of funny that you don't need to hit any of the pins. The carnival music has eclipsed all other... Oh, nope, there we go. Either that monkey was always there and I'm blind, or it spawned in via Chaos Edition. One of these two things is true. Oh boy, hello. I can't alter Sonic's, like, place in the world at all right now. Okay, let's... Burger Man. I haven't seen him in a while. There he is. No, let me pick him up. One of the most... Oh boy, this is happening again. One of the... Ooh, a Chow. One of the most commonly criticized things about this game is the fact that, you know what? I'm just going to go forward. One of the most commonly criticized things in this game is that the spin dash button is the same as the pick up button. Specifically because if you're looking to cradle a Chow, you might accidentally obliterate it by spin dashing straight into it. And by the way, even though it's made slightly worse by Chaos Edition, the camera does clip outside of the carousel all the time in the base game. That just happens. This has probably been the most fun level so far because of how open it is. Seeing the interactions that the codes have with everything is really fun. Man, this is some precise platforming for Chaos Edition, and I'm really surprised I haven't been screwed yet. Burger Man. I gazed too long at his magnificence. I gave in to temptation, and I was rejected. I was ogling. Like, frankly, that's what the problem was. I was being a bit perverted, looking at him so long, with such lust to grab him, to carry him with me on my journey. Should have respected his boundaries. Should have respected that although my journey is important to me, that does not necessarily mean it's important to everyone else, and I can't force them to come with me. I got what I had coming. Burger Man. I didn't learn anything. I learned less than most people do.
Aim for Chaos's head when he's off guard.
Will do. Will do, Tikal. What do you mean when he's off guard? Ooh, checkpoint. I can touch it. Cool, checkpoint.
Now you've got fighting gloves.
Now I've got fighting gloves, Tikal says. Noted. What are the gloves Sonic has by default, do you think? I wouldn't call them fighting gloves, personally. Ooh, boy. Alright, well, as terrifying as that was, nothing really went wrong. The end of the stage is right there. Come on, baby. Yeah. Alright, Twinkle Park, not so bad. First part, honestly, the hardest.
Hey, pump it up. Select your character. Let's get him.
Look, Sonic, I didn't really feel like getting 50 rings, okay?
Select a stage.
I've done it before on other save files. I don't need to do it here. Alright, Ice Cap Zone, here we come. This level probably has my favorite skips in it. Because it's a very vertical level. And there's a lot of ways to get stuck in rock that you might not consider if you're just playing the game casually.
Hold on to the icicle and jump.
Playing this game is like being in an episode of Looney Tunes, I swear to God. Getting sucked in the wall. Getting sucked through the void. I will say that although Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition has not forced me to lose my patience, it has
I still can't figure out that creepy monster.
it has made me lose my calm on more than one occasion. Not to anger, granted, but I don't think anyone can, in good conscience, argue that I've remained calm the entire time I've been playing Sonic Chaos Edition. Alright, second room. Where am I? What's happening? Alright, second room. Alright, cool. That's fair. Just let me outside. Alright, now let's see if I can do the skip here. Maybe I could have if whatever that is didn't happen. Let's try again. Hey, I did the skip. Alright. Ooh, you just letting me up here? Okay, cool. I planned to get up here if I went back down, but okay. Let's try skip number 2 because I'm greedy. The camera needs to move into the proper... There we go. Alright. Hey, skip number 2. Jumping is much safer. Okay. Alright. It's anyone's guess where things go from here. Putting the snowboard on a little bit early, Sonic.
Hey, let's go.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. This isn't, though. Falling into a gradient void, less acceptable.
Select your. Let's get him. Select a stage.
Honestly, this has been far more enjoyable than I anticipated. I accidentally started Twinkle Park, didn't I?
Select your. Let's get him.
I was not at all to be expecting to be this entertained by Sonic Adventure DX Chaos Edition. If you're wondering why I did Twinkle Park instead of Ice Cap first, I just felt like doing Twinkle Park.
Oh man, where can she be?
Hang on to the icicle and jump. You should be able to jump backwards, but don't hold on too long.
Sonic makes it
Right off.
Sonic makes it sound like an accident that he lost Amy in Twinkle Park Zone. And I can believe that he wasn't actively trying to lose Amy. But it is also the case that the way he navigates. I don't have enough memory in the memory card, according to the audio. It is the case that the way he navigated Twinkle Park would have been completely impossible for Amy. So I'm not sure what he was expecting to happen. When the camera angle completely switches to something unrecognizable, that's actually... It happened again. Is that a code? Did I just walk through that wall? Ooh. But I'm not, like I was saying, I'm not sure what... Where am I? Hello? Hello? Sonic, make a noise if you can hear me. Oh, he's dead. You know what? That's fine. I did the skip once. I proved it's possible. Being able to skip the icicles is a great... Alright. Okay. Being able to skip the icicles is a great reward for understanding Sonic's movement, because the icicles are inherently slow platforming in a game which is really supposed to... really supposed to be all about... Burger Man. In a game which is really supposed to be all about speed. Burger Man. Burger Man while snowboarding, please. Yes! Yes! Absolutely, I'm down for this. This is the best way this stage could have gone, frankly. The only thing wrong with this right now is that the camera isn't facing forward. I saw another Burger Man back there. Like, I know the camera's supposed to be facing this way. I've played the game before. I get that it's dramatic. Aw, the music's dead. Oh, it's back! We got boosted back into the music. This is honestly the best possible way that this could have gone, I think. And I can't really foresee much going wrong here. Unless I just fall through the world. I think that might be a possible code. Or Sonic dies again. Rock. Our good old friend, the Rock. I'm holding on to Burger Man for dear life. Not just figuratively, but literally. Because I'm worried that letting go of Burger Man will do something terrible to Sonic. Like, it will trigger some code or another. Okay, so you can just walk through these. I didn't even know that. Learning so much. I'm losing grip on him. I'm losing grip on the Burger Man. You know, I love this. This is beautiful, like, unironically. It looks like I'm dragging his corpse. I don't even know which way is forward. I guess this way is forward. I don't think gravity's been messed up like this yet in previous levels. I do appreciate that we have the appropriate music. This might be my favorite music to listen to in Sonic Adventure, the original. Come on, Burger Man. No, I accidentally clicked restart. Oh, it's all over. The Burger Man. He's been erased. There he is, and he's erased again. You know, as a child, I kind of dreamed of exploring this section without the snowboard, just like trotting around the landscape. So I'm glad that I got to experience that thanks to the Burger Man. And I got to see how the Burger Man interacts with the avalanche. Ooh, whoa, okay. Alright. Okay, the physics have realigned themselves, as they do. I don't know if okay. I don't... Oh, the death code. Alright, well, I do think that's probably where we're going to call it. But that was incredible. I had an amazing time. I'm probably going to play the rest with my roommate on our own time someday. And if my roommate doesn't want to, I'll just play it by myself. But that was very enjoyable. A link to the mods in the description. Thank you to the creator of the mod, whatever your name might be, because I've forgotten it. This was a lovely experience.